This video is sponsored by Sunflex UK. If you watch the channel regularly, you know that I offer consultations to homeowners anywhere in the UK, either people who want to alter the house they have or they're looking to buy a house and they wonder can they make the alterations they need. And this client was in that category. They were looking at buying this house in England and they had substantial plans for altering it. So you can see it's a mid 20th century detached house, nothing wrong with it, probably needs a bit of TLC inside. It's got an unusual arrangement. The stairs comes down into what is classified as the home office. Maybe it was a bedroom or living room at some point. The kitchen obviously needs an update, but the place has potential. It's built into a steep site and they wanted to look at extending. And you can see from the floor plan, quite a convoluted layout going on in here. You got to come through this entrance porch, through a series of doors, get into the kitchen. It's not the greatest layout in the world. Now, they had noticed that a house a few doors down the same street, this one, had a very similar layout, and that the new owners who bought that had done some substantial alterations to it. They changed it from that into this, a 2-story house. And my client had a budget of £250,000 to do the work. And the first thing I had to say to them was, there's no way £250,000 is going to do this. They had hoped to keep the existing footprint of the house and just literally add another story on top. The first thing to point out is that the foundations of this original house would never have been designed with that in mind. Nobody was going to pay for the extra concrete and steel to go into the foundations back in the 60s or 70s when this was built, on the off chance that someone half a century later would stick another story on top. So your choices are either demolish the house, grub out the foundations, pour new foundations and go from there, or do some underpinning to the existing foundations. And neither of these is a cheap or easy option to enact. So I don't quite know what they've done here, but I'm fairly certain that this isn't going to be a £250,000 job. The existing house is about 80, 90 square meters. And if you go 2 stories, you double that. So you're at 180 square meters at £3,000 a square meter. You can do the maths. They were quite upset at this and they wanted options and they were, wondering should they pull out of the sale. And I said, look, it's cool. Don't worry about it because you can probably get the extra bedrooms you're looking for by just altering the house. I will always encourage people before we commit to extending something or making it bigger, look at the layout you've got and see what you can do with it. And it turns out you can do quite a lot with this. So this is the existing layout. You've got your garage, living room. There's the stairs that comes into that office. And there's the convoluted entrance. The first thing we'd look at is converting the garage. Now the driveway is big enough. You can still park 2 or more cars in that driveway, maybe 3, who knows. You don't need a garage for modern cars, and very few people ever use their garage for a car. For storage, sure, but seldom ever for a car. So that's an easy, quick win. You can convert that and just put the door straight into the living room. Next thing you could do, and this is quite radical, bear with me, is cut down that window and put a door into it so that that becomes the main entrance to the house. Take down the wall between your kitchen and now you've got a nice L-shaped open plan space, which I think is the ideal shape for an open plan space if you've got living, kitchen and dining all going on in one, because then you can hide the kitchen units around the corner so you're not always looking at the dirty dishes in the sink. And if someone's watching TV, someone else is reading a book, someone's cooking a meal or doing their homework or whatever, you're not getting in each other's way. And you come straight into the main event rather than through this convoluted path. But we're not done because the next bit is the real win. That stairs, if you just go back to the original, comes into that office. Well, you could just change that bottom step, make an opening in that wall. So that stairs now comes into the living space. Build a wall at the side of that stairs so then that office now can become a private bedroom. You can also take down this entrance hall and porch because you don't need it anymore. You've got an entrance here and that can all become a much larger bedroom, maybe even the master bedroom. And that potentially could become a dressing room or an ensuite. We'd have to change the windows and block up the door, but that's not that hard to do. You keep that bedroom at the back. You've got double door access between the living area and the bathroom, which is always good. And, hey presto, you've now got 2 more bedrooms. The little bedroom upstairs in the roof, that doesn't change, stays as it is. And there you go. So I reckon that's probably achievable within the budget. Obviously, things like how much remedial work you'd have to do to the house, the cost of the kitchen units you want to put into it. Do you change the windows and upgrade those? What happens with the heating system and the electrics? Do they need repair work? Is there any rot or damp or subsidence in the property? Who knows? Assuming you don't have a horror story on your hands, you could achieve this well within that budget. So, I left that with them. They were kind of shell-shocked that they couldn't get what they wanted. They assumed they could build a nice extension out the back and then go maybe up another story, but not for that budget. And I don't think it's necessary either. Sure, you'd probably get planning permission for it. If the guy down the street did, there's little reason to say you couldn't either. But do you really need to be doing this? They got 2 extra bedrooms out of this layout, and they hardly have to change the external appearance of the property. So if you have a property or you're looking to buy a property and you would like to talk to me about what's possible, you can book a consultation with me to talk through the options, look at the budget, look at alternatives. And that's what a lot of people look for. They want to know, are their ideas feasible? But is there a plan B that they haven't considered? So get in touch if you have a property or you're looking to buy a property and you want to talk about it. And if you are going to upgrade windows in a property, I think I should point out that this video is sponsored by Sunflex UK, who design and manufacture high quality aluminium windows and doors in the UK. I've used them in my own projects and I think they strike an excellent balance between cost and quality. I've made several videos about their products. You can check those out. There's a playlist in the profile.